to the Binge List. I am your host, Paul Chappell, and I had a chance to watch The Queen's Gambit on Netflix a few days ago. Watched all 7 episodes. I was fairly impressed. I like Anya Taylor-Joy. I have an obsession with her face. She's not exactly beautiful. She's not ugly or anything. She has these big eyes. She just has a weird face, and I like staring at her. I find myself staring at her face whenever I watch something she's in, and it just, I don't know, it fascinates me because she's not traditionally beautiful like in Hollywood terms or standards. So I watched this and I liked it. It's based on a book by Walter Tevis, who died like a year after he wrote the book in 1983. But it's based on this orphan who becomes a chess grandmaster and ultimately world champion sometime in the 60s. Now I'm watching this thinking, this is a great freaking story. The girl is orphaned. She learned chess from pretty much a janitor in the basement of this orphanage. And then she gets adopted by a family, and her adopted father leaves her adopted mother, and then they start having financial difficulties. So she starts playing chess in local tournaments, and she's good. She's really freaking good. She's better than all the boys in Kentucky. This is where it takes place. And before long, she's jetting all over the world, playing chess tournaments. And ultimately, like I said, she beats the Russian grandmaster and becomes world champion. I thought, wait a minute, hold on. I have never heard of this woman. Her name is Beth Harmon. I really stopped and thought about it when they revealed the name of her nemesis, this Russian name, Vasily Borgov. And I've never heard that name. I know exactly 2 names in the chess world, and that's Bobby Fischer and Garry Kasparov. But I don't know anything more about chess. I don't know how to play it, never played it. I'm more of a checkers guy. Sue me. So I got to the point in the story where they reveal who her nemesis is going to be ultimately. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. I've never heard of this guy. And I've never heard of Beth Harmon, to be frank. So I'm thinking, this can't be a true story. So I stopped, did some research, and yes, it's based on a book. And I'm like, oh. Now, usually I don't have a problem with that, but it kind of feels like this movie is like, kind of like Rocky. Remember what Chris Rock said about Rocky?
Rocky takes place in a world where white athletes are as good as black athletes. So Rocky's a science fiction movie.
So if you think about it, this movie is a huge work of fiction because as far as my research is concerned, no woman has ever been world chess champion. I do have a problem with that. Yes and no. Just for example, when Morgan Freeman played a black president in The Impact back in 1998, we were 10 years away from actually having a black president. So sometimes it's great to put the idea into fictional media so that it becomes its own self-fulfilling kind of prophecy, if you understand what I'm saying. So I don't think it's necessarily bad that they create this story where a woman could become world champion. But at the same time, I don't feel like they did a lot of introspection into what it would take for a female to actually become world champion. Because I think they presented a lot of things in the movie as just matter of fact. Yes, I do believe a woman can become chess master, but I would have liked to have seen some of the differences between a female and a male chess grandmaster. And I'm sure there are differences. From watching this series, it seems like the only real difference is that she has a period and the male chess grandmasters don't. That's pretty much it. She doesn't particularly have a problem with sleeping around. I found out personally that women have a bigger connection, emotional connection during sex than men. So I don't know if I found that to be truthful or not. I mean, it is revealed early in the story that her mother died and she saw her mother die. So perhaps that did something to her emotional psyche. I don't know. I would have liked to see those themes explored though. She has alcohol and drug addiction in the show that really goes nowhere. I thought they could have explored that a little bit more. But it felt like they do with a lot of these fictional movies involving some type of minority, whether female or black or Asian, whatever, Hispanic. They make the characters just a little bit too good. And then particularly with women, they make them into Mary Sue's. Look that up if you've never heard of that. So I had a problem a little bit with the character being able to, she wasn't perfect. That was the good thing. They didn't make her perfect, but at the same time, like I said, they didn't really show how she was able to overcome her alcohol addiction or her drug addiction. She just basically decided one day that she wasn't going to do it anymore. And I don't really think that's how it works when you have an addiction like that. So I was kind of disappointed with that. Just to be clear now, there is a woman who was highly ranked in the chess world. Her name was Judith Polgar. She was ranked 8th. She's retired now. She actually beat Garry Kasparov, the Russian grandmaster. Now, I thought for a moment when I did the research on this that maybe they based the novel on her because she had a lot of similarities. She actually beat a world champion, but she didn't beat him and become world champion. She just beat him in one game in some tournament. So I thought, yeah, they obviously adapted Judith Polgar for this story. They just changed the names, but that wouldn't have been possible since she didn't beat Garry Kasparov till 2002. This novel was written in 1983. But like I said, it's a noble effort to say, yes, women can be great chess players. I don't really think psychologically a woman couldn't compete with men or mentally. I think it's very possible. It just, in this case, it hasn't been done yet. And I'm sure it will be at some point in our history. But I thought that, I kind of felt like this was the Rocky of chess movies, if that makes sense. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was done very well. I thought the characters were very interesting as chess players can be. I mean, they had that kid from Love Actually playing one of the chess masters, and I just thought his name is Thomas Brody Sangster. He was also in Game of Thrones, but I thought he played this character called Benny Watson. I just thought it was kind of funny because they were trying to just make him cool. He wore this black leather jacket and this cowboy hat, and I just thought this is so ridiculous. No one would actually think this guy was cool. To have the type of personality you need to play good chess, I think being an introvert and whatnot, it just is not conducive to somebody who's really exciting. Even at the high level, there's no groupies for chess players. You know what? It's just it's never going to be a popular sport. So take that as you will. I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting, even though I have no idea what's going on when they're playing chess. Luckily, you don't need to know chess to understand what's going on. They get around that in numerous ways. They basically focused a lot on the characters, which was good because you need good characterization for something so dry as chess, and they did that very well. But that's it. I give it a strong recommend. It is the most watched thing on Netflix, I think, even today, even though it came out like a week ago. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out. The Queen's Gambit with Anya Taylor-Joy. It's on Netflix right now. But that's all we've got for today. I'd like to thank my subscribers and encourage you, hit that subscribe button. Give me a like, give me a comment. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.